This is the Real Estate Foundation, your show for massive action with proven results. Raise your life and your legacy with real estate.
All right, so very exciting news is we have also launched the Multifamily Foundation podcast, and we're just bringing it to you live. Whole separate podcast, same awesome action. And again, imagine if you couldn't fail. Imagine if the foundation of your multifamily business had a blueprint and was built by the best. Well, this is what the Multifamily Foundation podcast is bringing you. We're going to provide you with actual content and tools to build and strengthen your business, from finding deals to raising money to asset management. We will bring you a formula for success. So are you ready to build your foundation? If so, go search the Multifamily Foundation podcast. Rate and review. We'd love a 5-star rating or review. Go subscribe to the podcast, or just give us any review. We want to have you listen to the show, give us actual feedback about what you want, what would make this show the best to help you achieve your apartment investing dreams. And special thing here is that from here, you can check out the next episode that we're actually launching right now on the Multifamily Foundation podcast here today on the Real Estate Investing Foundation podcast. So we're going to be putting up a couple episodes here so you can get a taste of just the awesome action we're going to be bringing you from the apartment investing front. So again, what are you waiting for? If you have questions, go to multifamilyfoundation.com. You can find out more about us, how we're helping others do this. Email us at info@yarusiholdings.com. Let's do this. All right. So how do you crush in apartments without raising rent yet? So we have a process, and it's worked well with us, and we're just going to give it all out to you here, is that for what has worked to make your apartment building worth so much more from the start without even raising rents is this.
So wait. I can do that without raising rents?
You can do this without raising rents.
Really?
Yeah. So we look for apartment buildings that have a value add component, that there's some kind of management inefficiency, whether it's on the property side or the management side. So when we go into a property, what would be, if you were living in an apartment building, which I'm sure the majority of us have rented, if we find there's new ownership in there, what's our first concern? Oh, the rents are going to go up. Everybody's afraid of that notion. So when you go buy an apartment building, that's most notably probably the fear that everyone has. But what if you went in there and instead of day one jacking up the rents, you went in there and started cleaning up the property, started redoing the landscaping, started updating the signage?
What if you went in there and actually asked the tenants, how can I help you? What do you need done? Instead of telling them your rent's going to be $25 more, instead of jacking up their rent, you went to them and asked them, how can I be of service?
So we go in there and there's usually a laundry list of just deferred maintenance that the prior ownership really just didn't get to or just didn't want to get to. So we'll go in there right away and clean all that up. Show the tenants here that we are here to make sure that they're having a better place to live. But here's what happens here. What has happened with the prior owner is the prior owner maybe wasn't fixing things. And so when the tenants were having rent or having leaks in the toilets or in the sinks, well, they weren't calling down. So what's happening to Mr. Owner, Mr. or Mrs. Owner? Well, their water bill is going higher and their utility bill is going higher because they're not fixing things, but the tenants aren't calling because they know that Mr. or Mrs. Owner is not going to come. So we go in there and we make sure that the tenants know that we're here to fix things. We start cleaning it up and our utility bills start to normalize. We find those discrepancies before we get into the property. We go in there. We also now systemize. We'll start putting in low flush toilets, aerators, faucets, cutting the water bill down from that capacity. We start cleaning up the landscape, cleaning up the entire exterior of the property, making it really look nice, cleaning up the hallways so people have just a great place to drive up to they can be proud of. Go in there to a clean, comfortable environment and start going into those units. Starts cleaning that up. We start systemizing, giving tenants processes, knowing that there's now going to be a system to how they're going to pay rent, making their lives easier, making things from that affordability standpoint. And our expenses go down. Now, here's the two ways that your apartment building gets better. Either increase revenues or decrease expenses. It's going to be two ways. Now, for us, we do both. Beyond not raising rents, we may go in there and we may add on a laundry contract or put in a move-in fee or put on a pet deposit or go in there and charge for covered parking, or it could be trash valet. There's so many different components we can add in there. We haven't even touched rent yet. But what happens is that you find that tenants, once they know they're in a better place to live, well, then they're start to be okay with those rent bumps, because they feel that when you get to month 2 and you start putting in small rent bumps here to good tenants that have been there, that have just been offered less rent, well, they understand why, because you've cleaned up the property. You've started to make it a better place for them to live. They don't have to move and uproot their family when their family and their kids are in the school right down there because of $25 or $50. They're willing to stay because they now know that you're going to be there to take care of them and make this place better. And then on there, you can start doing your upgrades. You can start doing everything you're going to do to recapture on that loss to lease, and now doing upgrades to meet market rent.
So, key factors here. Take care of your tenant base first before you jack up the rents. Clean up the property. Get in there and offer value first before you ask for it. You'll find that that's sort of the underlying theme that we're going to have throughout this podcast. We want to offer value first before we ever ask for anything.
All right. Bye now.
Bye now.